You ever wake up thinking you left all your problems behind, only to find out you just traded them for a brand new set? Yeah, that's how I learned what hell really looks like. Hint it ain't fire and brimstone, it's an HOA with a leader who thinks she's the sheriff, judge, and warden all rolled into one. I still remember that night, like it was yesterday, those red and blue lights flashing across the barn, the air thick with barking and shouting, and Karen Morgan, HOA president, standing by my stable door with her jaw set like a bulldog on a bone, clutching my dog's leash and hollering about dangerous animals as if she'd just uncovered a terrorist cell in rural Texas. The deputy's voice cut through the noise calm, but with an edge sharp enough to shave a fence post. "Ma'am, step away from the gate. You're trespassing." But Karen, oh no, she didn't budge. "I'm part of the HOA." She barked back all righteous fury as if that gave her some God-given right to scale my locked gate and poke at my dogs with a stick. I swear you could see the whole circus on her face, the squint, the glare, the stubborn tilt of her chin. They're violent. I was going to put them down myself if no one else would, she yelled, and the crowd gasped, me included. Put them down, like she was some kind of avenging angel. That was the moment I knew we weren't dealing with garden variety crazy anymore. We were staring down something darker. But let me back up a sec. I'm Jackson Carter, 38, ex-military, hoping for a little quiet after a lifetime of noise. Bought myself a 10-acre patch just outside Cedar Springs, Texas, dreaming of horses and corn and honest-to-God peace and quiet. No city nonsense, no HOA forms to sign in triplicate, just sunrise and fresh air and dogs running wild. I even started an outreach for kids who needed a break, one of them. Mason kind of adopted me right back. My little slice of heaven, right? Well, I thought I'd checked every box, scoured the paperwork to make sure no HOA jurisdiction could touch me. But turns out the devil is in the details, or maybe in a platinum-haired woman named Karen Morgan, age 62, divorced, and somehow always at the edge of my fence line. Karen wasn't just persistent, she was a legend. Ran a man out of the neighborhood over a mailbox, fined another for a garden gnome called the city because someone's grass was too enthusiastic. First warning came as a note in my mailbox, all official looking with an HOA logo. Silence your pets between 7:00 p.m. and 7:00 a.m., Regulation 4.6b. No signature, just the silent threat of bureaucracy. I laughed it off. My land wasn't under their control, except Karen didn't do giving up. Fines followed, then threats. Then one bright morning at 8 a.m., she banged on my gate dressed for tennis clipboard in hand. "I'm here for the pet inspection," she demanded. Entry through my intercom. Insisted my dogs were aggressive, that her niece was traumatized jogging by the fence. "Ma'am, this isn't your jurisdiction," I told her. "We'll see about that," she hissed, and the war officially began. Next thing I knew, she was showing up with a measuring tape, taking photos, building her case. Then one afternoon, Mason, all wide-eyed on my porch, told me she'd climbed my gate, threatened to call CPS if he interfered, let herself right into my kennel, poking at Buddy, my loyal Aussie, with a stick. I checked my security cams and called the sheriff, who, by the way, already had a file started on Karen. She'd been warned before, but this time she'd crossed the line into breaking and entering. The deputy and I were still going over footage when we heard the barking Karen Bold, as Brass had snuck back onto my ranch and was now trying to drag my other dog, Blue, out by the collar. That's when the deputy dropped the hammer arrest for trespassing and unlawful entry, Miranda rights and all. But the look Karen shot me as they put her in the cruiser told me this was just round one. You'd think that would be enough, right? Nope. Next day, someone slips another note under my door. No logo this time, just 6 words, in block letters. "We're watching HOA is everywhere." Not exactly neighborly. Then there's a white SUV with blacked-out windows rolling by twice, slow as a funeral. Night after that, the barn motion light flickers on somebody in a hoodie snooping around, caught on camera, gone by morning. Nothing missing. Just a message we can get in whenever we want. I tried to settle back into normal, fix the gate, replace the locks, double-check my cameras. Linda Mason's mom dropped by with a casserole and a warning. Karen got fired from her school job for harassing a family over their puppy, took it to court, lost, and apparently never let it go. "If she can't control you, she'll burn the whole thing down," Linda whispered. 1 week later, a fire broke out in my barn. Only the sprinklers and Buddy's barking saved the whole place from burning to the ground. Fire chief's verdict: no accident, no lightning, just arson. Guess who showed up on the camera that night? The same white SUV parked just out of sight. Sheriff's department was on edge, and so was I. Then came the animal abuse call, deputies sent to check my animals, all because Karen, newly released on bail, was trying to get my dogs taken away. Next morning, Mason found a dead squirrel with a tiny sign around its neck: the next ones won't be animals. That's when it hit me. This wasn't HOA pettiness, this was a threat. I filed for a restraining order, pulled together every shred of proof I had, but deep down I knew Karen wasn't alone. Sunday afternoon, a drone buzzed over the ranch, quiet, circling the chicken coop, inching toward the main house. I took it down with my rifle, handed the broken thing to the sheriff, but when Ray, my cousin and ex-Special Forces, saw the footage, he just shook his head. This isn't harassment, it's psychological warfare. The drone's memory card showed not just my place, but Mason's trailer, Linda's patch, even the animal shelter. Anyone who helped me was now a target. 2 nights later, both my dogs disappeared. Gate busted, kennel crowbarred open. No blood, no fur. Just gone. I got a text at midnight. No words, just a photo of Buddy chained up in some abandoned place, eyes wild with fear, and a message: leave the ranch or he dies. I didn't call the sheriff. I called Ray. By morning, he was there, military gear and all, planting cameras, setting decoys, and baiting traps. His plan wasn't just to protect the ranch, it was to expose whoever was behind this. And it worked. One night, Karen showed up with a guy Ray recognized, Paul Hargrove, disgraced animal control officer, fired for extortion. They were trying to break in again when Ray and I caught them red-handed. Police arrived, found tranquilizers, zip ties, rope, the whole works, arrested on the spot. Next day, Mason found a USB stick by the fence. On it, hours of secret recordings from inside homes, HOA board meetings, even Karen planning how to take my land. And just when we thought we could finally go public, my phone buzzed. Release the footage and you'll never see your dogs alive again. New photo, Buddy in blue, tied up somewhere unknown. But Ray, he wasn't about to let them win. He zoomed in on the background, spotted a faded sign, Denton Power Storage. That old facility was 10 miles out, abandoned for years. We rolled out, armed but careful, and found the trailer at sunset, 2 armed guards out front. Ray took them down quick, military style. I busted in and found my dogs alive but shaken, and I swear, seeing them safe in that moment, nothing else mattered. We brought them home and handed the evidence to the sheriff. The next morning, Sheriff Douglas stood on the courthouse steps announcing a full-blown investigation into the Cedar Springs HOA for everything from conspiracy to arson. The news blew up. My Facebook post went viral. Lawyers from all over the country reached out about class action. People started sharing their own horror stories. And just when I thought it was over, someone set off a Molotov cocktail in my tool shed, gone melted, nothing left but twisted metal and smoke. Sheriff's department moved fast, raided the HOA office, found boxes of fake fines, surveillance contracts, Karen's name all over it. She was charged with enough felonies to make a mob boss sweat. But there was still one last twist. Ray dug through the recovered files, spotted a man in the HOA meetings who wasn't supposed to be there, Ben Langston City Zoning Board, the guy who greenlit the last 3 HOA expansion permits. Turns out this whole mess wasn't about barking dogs. It was about land, and Langston was in on it. We sent everything to the press, and in 48 hours the story hit national news. Langston arrested HOA board, indicted Karen, transferred to federal lockup. You'd think that was the end, right? But I got a letter, no return address. You think it's over, but there's always another board, another Karen, another Langston. Ray tossed it into the fire, told me, we're not hiding, we're building something stronger. Let them come. And you know what? I believed him. Spring came late that year, but for the first time since I moved to Cedar Springs, my ranch was quiet. No black SUVs, no drones, no self-righteous HOA presidents lurking behind the fence. Just peace. Even got a handwritten letter from Karen's niece apologizing, saying she'd never even seen my property and hated how her name got dragged into it all. That letter sits framed on my shelf right next to a photo of Buddy Blue and Tank. We called this place Freedom Ranch, started a program for local kids, Grew a little family of survivors and fighters and people who know what it's like to be pushed to the edge. At the trial, the jury didn't even take 3 hours guilty on all counts, 25 years for Karen, 10 for Langston, plea deals for the rest. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, but I just walked out into the sunshine, Ray at my side, Mason and Linda behind me. So, yeah, sometimes the quiet life comes at a price, but I'll tell you this. No, HOA, no Karen, no board is ever going to take my peace again. And if you're listening, if you've ever been bullied by some fake authority, stand your ground, protect your own, and remember the fence might keep the animals in, but it won't keep us out. So what do you think? Where's the line between order and control, and what's justice look like when the bad guys are hiding behind a set of rules? Share your thoughts. Let's hear what real justice means to you.